Hey everybody, Blake Smith here with the FLW Pro Circuit, and I just got finished with the FLW Super Tournament with the MLF guys up on Lake Erie out of Sandusky, Ohio. And I've got some really cool fish catches I want to show you. Ended up getting a $10,000 check, which was an amazing payday and a very big blessing to our family. But I wanted to give you just kind of a brief rundown on how that happened. Everything was on two rods. I went into the event thinking I was going to be drop shotting and throwing a lot of finesse baits. I actually had everything rigged with 6 pound fluorocarbon, which is kind of crazy for me being from Florida. But I did. I had everything rigged with an FG knot, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about that FG knot in a minute. But thought that it was going to be completely finesse. And yes, it was one with finesse out deep. But for me, in order to solidify a $10,000 check, I got to do the things that I like to do and the things that I'm comfortable doing. And I also re-qualified for next year's pro circuit. So starting off every day, I ran into this harbor and I was able to catch everything on a vibrating jig. I'm not going to talk specifically about the type of vibrating jig, just going to talk about what made it special. Two different colors. I used a green pumpkin or a white. You can see this one has a little bit of chartreuse because we had a little bit of cloud cover on day two. But that was the key. The key was the vibrating jig. I tried a regular swim jig and I'd get them to nick at it, but they never committed. The vibrating jig definitely helped put some fish in the boat. Got me around 12 and a half pounds a day. But here's the secret. The kicker, there were people throwing vibrating jigs all around me, not catching a ton of fish, but catching a few fish here and there. I caught 28 bass in the harbor the first day and 17 the second day, and I truly think that it was because of the Zako. The Gary Yamamoto Zako. I was throwing two different colors. I had a white with like a pearl with a shiny belly, just a plain pearl, or either the green pumpkin as I went into the stained water. But it just gave it a lot of action. It looked more realistic. They were feeding on shad, and the shad were about 3.5 inches long, which just so happens to be the exact same size of the Zako. So it was really easy for them to key in on it. It looked just like what they were going after, and I was able to match the hatch. Two different colors. In the morning, I was throwing the white more than I was throwing the green pumpkin. And as the day progressed, I was throwing green pumpkin and then chartreuse trailer. I missed a couple big ones. Could have been my hook was dull or something because I was fishing around a lot of rocks in the afternoon. But both of those were really awesome at putting a lot of fish in the boat. How I was doing that is I was throwing that on a Spiralite Defiant Series 7.2 medium heavy fast. I tried doing it on a heavy fast at the beginning, but their mouths were really, really soft. So as I'd set the hook, the fish would jump, sling the baits off, and I was missing a lot of fish in practice. So here in the tournament, I dummied it down just a little bit, went to a medium heavy fast blank, something I didn't have to set really hard on, and I was able to put those fish in the boat every time. Throwing that on 17-pound Berkeley trilene fluorocarbon. Pretty simple, but the water was kind of dingy, so I was able to go to a little bit heavier line. And then the reel was a Revo Premier. I run two different sizes of the Revo Premier. This one just happens to be the 7.3-1, but I also have some that are a little bit slower for cranking. But the 7.3-1 was a perfect speed. I had guys around me, some MLF guys and some FLW guys that were around me not catching them. And I think the rate of the speed that I was retrieving the chatterbait or the swimming jig in had something to do with it. So going with that 7.3-1 half-ounce baits and the Zako 17-pound Berkeley trilene fluorocarbon was huge. Now the other one, as you're going to see in the video, which really, really was awesome because I truly believe the reason that I got the $10,000 check was because I needed that one extra bite. And that one extra bite came from this little bait right here. I hope you can see that. But this is the Berkeley Skinny Cutter 110 Shallow. I told them they needed to rename this bait the 10K because it puts $10,000 in the boat. But this hook, I mean, the hooks on this bait are the Fusion 19 hooks, and they're extremely sharp. So normally when you shrink down on a jerkbait this size, you only go to like 2 hooks. The shallow Cutter 110 still gives you the ability to have 3, I think they're number 9, Fusion 19 hooks that are extremely sharp. And the smallmouth that bit this, the one smallmouth that I caught down in day 2, that you'll get to see the video in a second, was hooked with like all 9 hooks. It's the first time I've ever seen that. But it really, really came into play big time. This bait doesn't go down too deep, but it's a great bait for covering water and putting those key fish in the boat. How I was doing that was on the Defiant series, Spiral Light Defiant series 7.2 medium fast. Yes, I throw mine on a spinning reel. I always have. I love throwing jerk baits on spinning reels because I can control the drag extremely quick. Now, look for that in the video as I'm controlling that drag and loosening it up and tightening it up just to get those fish in the boat. But that was on a Revo MGX, one of the greatest reels, I think, for being able to go from finesse all the way to throwing a jerk bait or even throwing a Cinco and things like that. The Revo MGX gives you the ability to do that. Now, I use the size 30s on everything. So this is the MGX 30. I like a little bit more line capacity, and what I'm throwing on there is the X9 braid. So, it's got Jordan Lee on the package, but Berkley came out with the X9 braid, I think, last year, and it does everything I need it to do. Now, I was throwing that with an FG knot. Remember that FG knot? And you can look it up. It's real complex, but once you tie it, you'll never tie anything else again. And I was throwing on 10-pound Berkley Trilene fluorocarbon. So, I was able to make long casts with that jerk bait, and it never broke, never frayed, never had any issues when that one fish bit during day 2 that helped me solidify that $10,000 check. So, anyway.